Hi guys, this is Frankie Torres for the Pixel Slayers. Today I have some bootleg stuff for you. This is the infamous Super Joy 3 Super Joystick TV game. They sold these in malls back in, I want to say the early thousands, probably like 2003. These are pretty popular. You would walk through the mall and you'd see these things for like $30. They had tons of NES and Famicom ROMs on them. Basically, inside this was a Nintendo and a chip system. Even had a Famicom pin set on the back of it. And it would come with a little light gun and this controller. I don't have the light gun, but I do have the controller and the little unit itself. It takes DCN, which is basically if you have an NES or Sega Genesis Model 1 plug, you just plug that in there. And AV out. This was before HDMI, obviously, and even if it wasn't before HDMI, this thing ain't gonna have it. This was like really cheap. Yeah, so it looks like an N64 controller, but it just has a fake joystick. It doesn't actually do anything. You actually hold it like this. There's no triggers, and you would have your start, select, and the reset for the system. Your B and A and B and A, just pretty much duplicate buttons, in on and off right there. And that's all that there was to it. You can also play it portably if you had, I believe it takes the batteries, but I don't have the top part to it. So, I actually got this in like a controller a lot, and I thought it was so interesting because I always saw these back in the day. It came with a second controller you'd plug into the back. It's like a little Genesis controller, and it came with this little twist-off nub. And yeah, you could play two-player. And yeah, the person who made these actually went to prison for 5 years. Our last video, we actually had an ad about that this exact same console. And yeah, so it's actually not as bad as you would think it is. Don't get me wrong, it's really cheap feeling, and it's pretty crappy feeling, but the emulation's not horrible, at least on not using the old CRTs. It's actually pretty decent emulation. The D-pad is terrible though. If you're gonna play the games, you probably want to use this. It's a little better, but let's be honest, they both are pretty terrible to control, but the emulation, surprisingly not too bad. Okay, so we just open this thing up, and inside you'll see the, just has a regular controller board here, and it has a little epoxy blob. And on the other side, or right here, you see the battery contacts that are soldered in there. And then on this side, this goes to the, I believe to this controller port right here. And then on the board, where the controller board is, you have the power input, the switches, and then the AV connections. And then of course the little cartridge switches. I don't want to take this fully apart because I do want to I don't trust this cheap Chinese stuff to last if I took it apart, because these aren't soldered in very well, and a lot of this stuff's just hot glued in, so I'm very, very delicate with it. So yeah, right here you're gonna see these literally use a piece of paper to, for some reason they covered the pin. I think they didn't want these pins shorting out the solder points, so they just put a piece of paper over there and hot glued it. And then there's the little Famicom pin connector right there. So not much to this, but you know, the early thousands, the NES and the chip thing was pretty easy to come by and pretty affordable to make. So definitely the first of its kind, I think, to hit such massive sales. This thing sold millions of units, at least some variations of this did. These things were everywhere. So yeah, that's basically what the inside of this thing looks like.
Yeah, guys, we're prepping this video, and the thing actually started smoking.
So...
and it smells like burnt plastic in here now.
There'll be no, there's some smoke.
Oh, there it goes. Woo!
So what burnt was this little resistor right here. You can see that it caught on fire. I really wish the first time I plugged it in I got some footage, because it lasted like 15 minutes before it started catching on fire, so.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So yeah. Whew, it really stinks right now, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't buy these. Why would you?
Super joy. So much joy being felt right now.
Please stay tuned for more great content, and hopefully not any more fires. Thanks. Bye.